Welcome to Grow Mode, everybody. I'm Jace Reposa. Here's my co-host, Dan Mondello. You guys may know us from such things as LinkedIn, and that's about it.
That's about all we're good at is LinkedIn. We never shut up there.
So we're ending 2025 in a strange place in cannabis right now. There's, the green rush is far over at this point. And we're going to talk to a little bit about like what that really means. We're going to talk about MJBizCon today, for instance. And the industry isn't dying, though. It's settling, right? It is now, instead of like this big onslaught of capital coming in and all this other stuff, which has primarily dried up since 2022, I would say is probably the last any big deal that I heard of ever happening. Now it's really settled into the way I like to say it is, instead of running like a 10-room tent in your home or something like that, now we're talking about like operating like a Ford dealership. It's like business and operations and all the boring stuff that nobody really wants to discuss.
The fun varnish is more or less worn off at this point.
It's worn off. Yeah, like a properly broken in bat or something like that. It's all ready to be swung, but it doesn't have that shine anymore.
Yeah, the pop is maybe dulled a tad.
But if you're in the industry, this one is for you. This is for the operators. This is for the people who support their operators. This is for anybody who wants to understand what's going on and potentially take some actionable things. Quick disclaimer, my lawyers will kill me if I don't say this disclaimer because it is serious business. The following discussion includes analysis of proposed legislation, regulatory activity, and market data. This is for informational purposes only and does not constitute any legal, financial, or investment advice. Any sales figures referenced are based on third-party estimates, and market analysis should not be treated as audited financial reporting. It is very important that you guys know that this is more of an opinion show versus a factual-based journalist show. There's a lot of people doing a good job of that stuff, like Chris Ferrone, Talking Joints Memo, is putting out a lot of like journalist-level quality kind of content out there. But for me, it really is, or for this show anyways, it really is more about like hot takes, spicy opinions about what's actually happening in the industry today. So, since I already did the disclaimer, I kind of want to jump into MJBizCon right away.
Let's do it.
All right, so I didn't attend MJBizCon. I know you did.
And you were missed. I was looking for the entire time, all the balloons, the yellow and white balloons. I couldn't find them.
I did not make any grand announcements, and I'm not going to lie. It was something that I never really, I didn't attend last year either. And for me, it just hasn't been top of mind because the simplest way I say it to people is I'm in the Massachusetts market and nowhere else. I don't necessarily have to travel to Las Vegas to see my friends, right? And the way I've been looking at MJ Biz has evolved over time because, and I put out that post on LinkedIn basically saying like the real shows are like on the state level, really, right? Because if you're a state-by-state operations, it's state-based. So again, green rush is over, right? MJBizCon, when in early days of MJBizCon, was all about those connections.
Right.
It was about, it's a new industry.
Right.
Let's all get together. Let's, and there's big things about culture and like all this in equity in the market. It has to come through, and everybody's talking about these big things. And slowly it's evolved into vendors selling each other things.
That's basically it. Yeah, that was the entire experience this year, especially.
So take me through, what was your experience like?
Can I actually share some images? Would that be okay?
Yeah, sure.
All right, so I'm going to share my screen. First timer here, so bear with me, folks. All right. Let me know when you can see this. All right. So in preparation for our show today, Jason, I went and did a couple Google searches, and and this is what the crowd looked like in 2023 at MJBizCon.
I was going to say, that's not 2025.
No, that was like one of the first ones I went to. You couldn't move in that crowd. It was insane, And then let's look at 2024. So again, I Googled 2024. This is the image. So, still a pretty healthy crowd, but seems a little thinned out. Yeah. All right. So this actually, I can't confirm this image was actually taken from 2025, but it's on MJBiz's this felt more like this year to me.
Yeah,
like,
okay. That's the feeling, right? Whether that's not actually from it or not.
That was the feeling. So like literally I remember like 2021 was my first one. Everyone was coming off of COVID. Everyone was masked up. You couldn't move in the crowd. Yeah. This year I could have walked down any hallway like this and not hit anybody.
I heard it was really sparse.
It was crazy.
The sparseness comes from a few things. Some people said it was the layout of the booths. Wasn't really, it was like they had all this extra space. Maybe they should have just a smaller hall. I remember the last year I went was probably 23. It must have been, yeah, because I didn't go 2024 either. When I went to 2023, there was 2 floors, right? And they were jammed.
Right.
The top floor is maybe a little bit smaller, but 2023, the bottom, the first floor, it took me hours just to walk the floor because I was just curious like who was there. I'm always on the lookout for like different innovations in the market. You know, I'm a sucker for innovation, and so I'm always trying to get people to like tell me more information about like what they're doing and what they're up to. So I was like a hawk going down each aisle, like just staring at different, different devices and stuff like that, just being like, what is that all about? And so when I saw something, I was like, oh, check that out. Like Flint's mints, like I had never heard of that before. That's the mint that gives you your saliva back when you have dry mouth. It turns out it's like some kind of compound that isn't really like super, it's abrasive, and that's why it causes you to have saliva or something like that.
It's not a product it's a great product. It's not one I would buy because I already drool and spit all over the place anyway. So it's not like a product I would endorse for myself, but it's a great product in general. You found that at MJBizCon. That was your first interaction with them?
With them, yeah. So I think I saw it at MJBizCon. Maybe that was like 2022, but like I'm always looking for innovation. So when I saw them, I immediately went up to them and be like, what is this? Like, who's selling a mint? Oh, it must be THC. It's not.
No, it's just a mint.
Exactly. So on the MJBizCon side, like, who is it actually for now?
I think you hit the nail on the head. I was a vendor there to sell customers.
You had a booth.
This is my first year having a booth. So myself, or Rank Really High, Temecca Group, who does build outs and construction projects, Apex Trading, which is the wholesale B2B marketplace, kind of the other side of the e-com equation from Rank Really High, Green Space, which is a data management company. We all built a dispensary within the showroom. And we had kiosks. We were actually allowing online ordering for the after party at the world's largest consumption lounge, New Woo. And everything went off without a hitch. Like nothing failed, nothing broke, but the attendance level, like...
We were at the booth both days, like full time?
I was out and
about. Was it 2 days?
It was 3 days.
3 days.
Yeah. The first day, which I didn't realize. I got out there Monday, didn't really look at the agenda or anything. Got out there, everyone told me, oh, you actually don't have to be at the booth until Tuesday to set it up. So I figured we'd get there first thing in the morning, set it up, and then the floodgates would open. Tuesday, we set up the booth and had nothing to do after that. It actually opened on Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday, the place was a ghost town.
Right.
Yeah.
So then going into the following day, what was like, so you set up this like between 4 companies? Is that what I heard?
Yeah.
Like a dispensary kind of like layout.
Yeah.
And how was the attendance like the next day then, when the doors opened?
I mean, listen, it was not well attended at any given time. The quality of the attendees, the people who actually came this year, came to get deals done, it felt like. Which is not the feeling I got in prior years where it kind of felt like everyone was just trying to learn more about what was going on, what's investor grade. I'm trying to find a picture of our booth. I'm sure there's one somewhere here. I'll pull it up at some point.
Yeah, just curious like how that ended up for you. But like, because every time I've heard about MJ Biz, I think even the first year, which would have been, because I've only been twice, it was 2022, 2023. It was like 2022 was the first year after like the whole COVID stuff, I think, right? So when I went both years before going, people definitely told me straight up, they were like, don't even go to the showroom floor.
Right.
Everything happens outside of the showroom floor, right? Whether there's meetings offsite all the time.
Right.
So I took that to heart. I did spend some time on the floor, but after a while, there's only so many like banks and insurance companies booths I can look at before I'm like, okay, like I get it. And so I pieced out into a couple meetings and then obviously after parties and stuff like that. But, I just want to refrain. I want to say again, the people I talk to the most, which is on me to a certain extent, are people from Massachusetts because I know them already. Yeah. So I go there.
That's your market.
So it's just like, I go there, I see people from Massachusetts and I'm like, I could have saw you. You're like 20 minutes from my office. Like we could have had just lunch. You know what I mean?
A lot of people say out there, like, I know I'm like 20 minutes down the road from you, but I only see you once a year and it's in Las Vegas. Well, you got to fix that, but no one ever does.
Yeah. So there's I feel like there's a split happening, going back to my post on LinkedIn regarding state-based events. I feel like there's a split happening with these national events and then these state-level events that are attracting kind of like the surrounding states.
Mhm.
So like MJ Unpacked, I think does a good job because they have one in Atlantic City, for instance.
Yep.
But it pulls in people from Connecticut and New York and Pennsylvania,
Massachusetts, Rhode
Massachusetts.
Island.
a
Yeah,
lot of
they're
people
all
go-
there. We're all there.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like kind of like this little Northeast thing. So I think
Yep.
MJ Unpacked does that well from that perspective because, you know, if you are looking to expand into an adjacent market, you're going to find deals there,
Mhm.
right? Because you're going to be like, because, you know, I don't know how many times I've been to an MJ Unpacked, whether it was in the New York City Times or Atlantic City, where people come up and they say, hey, you're good vibes. You got to come to Jersey.
Right.
You got to come to New York. You got to come to
Right.
Connecticut. You got to come to Pennsylvania even. Right. And so we've entertained some of those conversations, but that's kind of like the deal flow that we're in.
Yep.
So really, like, do you think it depends on your size maybe? Like if you're an MSO, do you go to Vegas just because it's the MSO thing to do? Or at some level, like when you're like if you're sub $10 million in revenue a year and you have a team of maybe like 20 or less or whatever it is, or maybe say 25 or less, do you really need to be putting people out? Do we really need to be sending an individual or even a team to MJ Biz in Vegas?
I mean, it's possible to ball on a budget out there. Like in every prior year, I had gone as an attendee. In 2023, I went and walked the floor in my stupid jacket. Everyone knows me for. It's my own mobile booth. In 2024, we didn't even go into the showroom. We threw a party 2023 at Paris. We threw a party 2024 at Paris with the same crew we did our booth with this year. This was my first time doing the booth, and like Rank Really High is a national brand. I can basically operate.
Yeah, you're
anywhere.
national, right? You
I
can
can
be
go
anywhere.
wherever,
Yeah,
basically. But if I'm a retailer in one state, if I'm a brand that's not covered more than one state yet,
Yeah.
why the fuck am I there? I
Right.
swear.
Yeah,
why
yeah.
the fuck am I there?
Yeah.
You know?
Jacob, we can swear, right?
You can blurp me.
Fucking, hey, I'm so glad I can fucking swear.
Oh, guys. It's unnatural if I speak and there's not a string of expletives coming out of me.
Yeah, and so there's obviously the national or the services. I could imagine since they are national presence, they might have. But that's what I'm saying. As a licensed operator that has a brand, if I go to Vegas, I'm the person they're hunting. Like I'm the prey.
Yeah.
People are like, hey,
that's exactly what it is.
do you need a website? Do you need insurance?
Yep.
Do you need
banking
a bank?
solutions?
Yeah,
Hydroponic gear.
Exactly. Exactly. So you're walking down, and it's a cultivator's dream sometimes. So because you can check out I guess, and I'm not in cultivation, but if you're a cultivator, I could see that being helpful because then you can see all like the latest and greatest like things in person,
right?
Versus just like buying it online or trusting a salesperson's conversation about like, hey, these are the best LEDs, blah 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 blah. We can go in person and see the LEDs. Or the lights, I'll say, whether people are using blurples anymore.
That was a big topic of conversation, was the lighting type out there. And I didn't understand a word anyone was saying. The whole time, like, it's bright.
Yeah, exactly. It must grow something because it's bright.
Something comes out of that. It's bright.
But I think that has been, I think my experience with the cultivator side, especially, has like with the vendors for that, there's like a dominating presence of them there, right? The lights, they're like glowing up the whole space.
So like in prior, I didn't go in the showroom last year, so I can't speak to it. I'm gonna theorize about it. The first year I went there, everything was everywhere. It was lights in the same spot as like cultivation, as digital marketing, as whatever. It was all just splurred all over the place.
Yeah, it's everywhere, yeah.
This year, I don't know what it was like last year, but this year it was a lot smaller, as I said. There was kind of like ancillary services on one side. That's where we were, and some brands and some dispos. And then on the other floor, it was all just cultivation, hydroponic.
Did you find so just getting back to your own experience with it, was it a positive ROI for you ultimately? Like how many deals did you have to close to make it worth your while?
Gosh, too many. But luckily, we actually had the best success ever at a conference at MJBizCon. It was with two prospects we had already been speaking to. They came, they saw the booth, they met us in person. They're like, oh, wow, they are real. And the signature happened minutes later. So we actually did sign 2 multi-store deals at the show.
Does it pay for that booth?
Yeah, it pays for that booth, but in my heart, I'm still underwater on that deal.
Well, because that's what it comes back to is ROI, right? It's just like, was it worth it? And what it means to be worth it depends on who you are. If you're a licensed operator or a vendor or something like that.
The question I keep asking myself is, could we have done these 2 deals, which we were really close to doing anyways, if I didn't have to get on a plane, buy an expensive 5-day pass at a hotel, buy the ridiculous pass for the conference, and then spend whatever the hell we spent on this booth, which we split 4 ways, and it still felt exorbitant.
Compared to like Massachusetts shows,
You go to a NECAN and it feels, and like Mark does a great job. It feels very reasonable. I mean, I'm not saying raise rent or anything like that, but I think it's reasonable for what you get out of it. And to be honest with you, I don't, in prior NECANs, I can't really recall what the attendance was like last year, but in prior NECANs, they've always been great shows. It's always been well attended. I don't think that MJBizCon this year was much bigger than NECAN Boston.
No?
It didn't feel that way. It didn't. I mean, there was more space to be filled, but attendance-wise, I think there were more people bouncing around the chandelier bar this year than in the exhibit hall at any given time.
Well, I think that's what everybody says, is that since everything happens outside of the showroom floor, and everything's happening with, at these meetings and after parties, which I can attest to. Like, some of the after parties are kind of wild too. But what's actually, like, I get if it's a one-on-one meeting that you scheduled in advance, and Las Vegas just happens to be a really easy place for everybody to come into to, like, because there's plenty of flights. The flights, in some cases, depending on when you get them, aren't super expensive. And more importantly, some of the hotels, like, what's the one with the needle, the point?
The Stratosphere?
The Stratosphere. The Strat.
Yeah. Have you jumped off that,
No,
by the way?
I have not.
Oh, my God.
The Strat.
Don't do that.
I think the last time I went cost me like $29 a day.
You stayed there as a hotel?
I stayed at, because I was on a bootstrap budget. I was like,
I'm not criticizing. I've never met anyone who actually stayed there. Listen, I've jumped off of it before.
Well, I didn't stay in the needle. I stayed like in the, like.
I stayed in midair.
I stayed in like the regular floors or whatever.
Yeah.
But like it's a central meeting point. I get it why it exists from that perspective, but unless we're cutting deals, I don't even know, like, there's not even capital around, right? So there's some VCs that are still like in the market, I would say, but they're not actively pursuing anything necessarily.
Literally the only person I know who's done anything in M&A in the technology space in cannabis is Nick, who owns and runs Alpine IQ. He literally made an announcement prior to going to the show that said, like, hey, I'm looking to talk to companies and possibly acquire them outside of cannabis.
Right, exactly.
Like,
ancillary stuff.
Exactly.
We have a comment here from Mark Kaplan. Gentlemen, the real story out of MJ Biz was that the actual product was banned in the space. No consumption allowed, even in the consumption sections. Drug dogs roaming the floor.
I heard
that drug dog thing. I have heard this.
So listen, in prior years, I didn't see the drug dogs. I heard multiple people tell me that there was a drug dog out. I didn't see it with my own eyes.
It was a dog.
There was, maybe.
Does he like drugs? We don't know.
We don't know if you like drugs. I can tell you that, in prior years, you go out to the front door and there's like an army of people in suits smoking weed at 9 a.m.
Right.
That was not the vibe at this one.
Really?
There was, I meant to take a picture of it. There was maybe 12 people out there at any given time smoking. And then I heard that on the far end, like behind the building, there was a designated like consumption area. And that's allegedly where the dog was. Dude, like, people told me left and like people were complaining the entire time. How do you have a cannabis conference without cannabis?
Exactly. And I think that's so, and I've heard early accounts about the early days of MJ Biz, again, because it really is, people were talking a lot about culture and equity and how are we going to make it, how are we going to, for lack of a better word, reparations, like how are we going to get people who have been unjustly either in prison, arrested, or otherwise, give them equity so they can figure out a way to participate in this market that has harmed them, right? Because it's all, there's this big component of harm that has happened, right?
Yep.
So the way I look at it is they've kind of moved on from that clearly. If they have, there's police officers at NECAN, to be fair. Right? There's police officers at NECAN. Actually, the show, I was in a New York show. It was, I want to say, Hall of Flowers in New York. The first Hall of Flowers show happened back in October, November. And in that show, there was police officers walking the floor and operators, licensed operators, because New York's just a wild place.
It is a wild spot.
They were just taking bags of weed and they were like showing the officers like, hey, smell this and stuff like that. They were like putting the weed right in front of these people and in front of these police officers. And the police officers were like, oh, and they were like smelling it and like walking by and like doing all this other stuff.
Dude, I mean, listen, I can't recall exactly how it was last year, but I definitely recall there was a lot of security this year. Like you went through like I got patted down each time, and I don't
patted down.
I got patted down, man. Like I mean, I look super suspicious. I'm wearing a bedazzled jacket, so I can understand their like desire to check out what.
But you belong on the stage, though.
Yeah, well, that's usually what I wear the jacket for. But like, no, I definitely got patted down. They definitely wand me over. I've never had to open up my backpack.
Has that happened before?
I don't remember.
Year? I don't think I
never remember that. Like, I mean,
anytime I've been, I don't think I've ever been.
I have the exhibitor badge on. I'm clearly not. I mean, I don't look like a guy who's selling cannabis on the showroom floor.
Right.
Maybe I am. I don't know. But no, I had to open my bag each time.
A little bit less suspicious, like with a giant, like sequined green jacket on.
I want to show a comment. I'll go back on your point about like, you know, we still have cannabis. We still have people who sold cannabis in the legacy market in jail. I thought that Bradley Good, I think I'm saying your name right, but Bradley, he had a really interesting comment about the MJs, which I've never been to the MJs. I had a lot of friends win an MJ this year, and deservedly so. But he's saying right here, like, to watch people go up and gussy up, wear a tuxedo, and you know look like they're in Hollywood and accept an award while there's people who are still in prison for cannabis. He says pretentious. He literally puts a picture of the definition for pretentious. I mean,
attempting to impress. That is fantastic. So
he's a good commenter. I love listening to what this guy has to say.
That's so interesting. And, you know, I definitely want to share some LinkedIn stuff too, because I do find that like LinkedIn, the amount of stuff that gets, especially in cannabis, that gets said on LinkedIn is just amazing.
It's wild.
I'm here for it 100%. So don't even get me started about the award shows. Like MJs, I went to one MJ.
Right. I never been.
I've been to one MJ, and that was probably the 2023 one. I think Berner gave like a speech there and stuff like that.
That sounds right.
Yeah, you know, it was kind of cool to be there. And I was there with friends, and it's good because I met a ton of people, and a lot of people who I met over the years at MJBizCon, I still talk to. So It's like, it's a great place to network. But again, people were like, hey, when you come to California? And I'm like, probably not soon. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't think we have the capital for stuff like that. We're in a kind of a capital preservation kind of situation.
Everyone is. If people are saying that they're making money, they're lying to you. Like, everyone's trying to outpace churn right now.
And I don't know enough about MJs, so I'm not going to call them out specifically. But a lot of award shows are pay to play. Mm-hmm. Like, you don't get it on merit. You get it based on like submissions, which is how they make their money, how they can afford to pay the judges or whatever.
And who's actually submitting these things? Like
people who have the money to submit all these things.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't know, but
we've never participated in any pay to play things like that, award shows, but maybe someday we will. I can't say we'll never do it. Of course, I can change my opinion at any time on these things, but I just feel like award shows are not about the best person winning. It's more about like, in some sense, it's kind of like a popularity contest. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It depends on the show, of course. Right. Some cannabis cups are a little cleaner because they've been around for like 20 years or whatever, and they've had like specific whether it's SOPs or whatever you want to call it, or requirements and all this other stuff that make it super zeroed in and like fairly unbiased. But I don't even know the value of an MJ. Like, if I was to put the MJ logo on our website, will some consumer be like, oh my God, they want an MJ?
I mean, listen,
or if it's just for vendors, I don't know. But
I only consume products that in your space that have an MJ.
Exactly.
I exclusively do. I won't even touch. I won't put it in my body.
Same thing. It's like even the High Times cup. Yeah. It's just like it's like, okay, cool. Like, and you get the High Times award. High Times still has especially with Josh taking over as CEO or who purchased it.
Yep.
The founder of Raw.
Oh, yep.
When like, I think you do have now some semblance of. There's always that authority behind High Times, and I think hopefully Josh is bringing that back to life. Mm-hmm. Whereas before, kind of nobody thought for the last 5-10 years, I haven't thought about High Times. You know what I mean? But all of a sudden, they're kind of like coming through again a little bit.
I've never read it. Like I know what it is, obviously.
We've been in it. We've been in it once. We've been on the digital version and the print version.
What was the topic of
the 50th anniversary edition? It was we were in an ad. We paid to be in there.
I'm waiting for them to make me a centerfold, and I'm happy to wear whatever outfit you'd like me to, John.
Green sequins,
green jacket, bikini, whatever it is.
Exactly. Yeah. Bikini bottoms.
Exactly.
So that's MJ Biz. We can go to a couple different areas. We're at 1:25 right now. We got about another 20 minutes or so to be live on air. I kind of want to go to hemp. We're going to start to the regulatory side. So hemp and federal legality. So a couple of things come to mind immediately, which is there seems to be this kind of parallel world that we're living in that we have been living in for a long time. Hemp, cannabis, hemp versus cannabis. Hemp is this, cannabis is this, right? Everybody's trying to like single out these things. Some people believe, which I think is true, which is it's the same plant. You know, some people believe that hemp rules, or what they want to call loopholes, were created accidentally or not. They exist in the 2018 Farm Act. When they were created, it allowed for all this kind of like this new marketplace to take place. And a lot of people felt, especially licensed operators, felt left out. Right. And so they're just like, and now when it just got banned, ultimately, we can talk about what the actual ruling is. Now the licensed operators are like, yay, it's been banned. So now I'm going to get all my customers back.
Here they come. Get the kiosks ready.
Well, how do you feel about that on the hemp rules?
Yeah, I've heard the arguments for and against, and my opinion is that people who would buy a hemp-based cannabis product at a gas station are not a dispensary's ideal customer.
Right.
They're probably not your customer at all. I mean, do you really think that they're going to come from spending $5 on whatever grotesque product they bought at a gas station to spending, almost $30 on an eighth with you? Or
right.
I just don't see it.
Right.
And I'll also tell you this, I know I put hemp and THCA and all the derivatives kind of in the same general bucket for consumerism. I saw back in the day, and I don't think they advertise that much anymore. There was this company called Mood. Are you familiar with them?
Yeah,
at all?
Mood.
Yeah. So they were advertising like crazy on Facebook and Instagram.
That was a couple of years ago now.
Yeah, 2 years. Yeah, like 2 or 3 years ago. I was like, you know what? I just want to see if it will show up at my house. So I bought it, and I got Moon Rocks. I'm like, this is awesome. Like, it was super cheap. I tried it once, and I took the rest of it and threw it the fuck out.
Really?
Like, dude, it wasn't that it was bad.
They were so brazen in their advertising too. It was wild. I was
caution
like,
to the wind.
How does Facebook even allow this?
There's definitely ways to do it, and if anyone wants to know people who know how to do it, give me a ring. I'll point you in the right direction. But they were absolutely off the deep end with some of their advertising. Like, they were just flicking off all the regulation around 100%. That. But I tried it. It wasn't for me. Giving me the worst headache ever. So I don't think those customers were your customers to begin with. Mail order and coming to a dispensary. There's a reason why they're ordering it in the mail. Yeah.
And so exactly, and I think that is so. Just to summarize for the audience, the hemp rules, 2018 Farm Act comes out. It's less than 0.3% THC. Then in order to reopen the government, while everybody is almost like, it was like around the time when everybody's at MJBiz. It was funny.
Let's go.
Everybody's like, yeah, cannabis, let's go. And then my first deal, actually, one of my bigger first deals was at the 2022 one. We were talking about hemp THC drinks. I made a deal at MJBiz because of this. Nice. And that was 2022. And I went to the showroom floor and I saw like one company selling THC drinks, and I was like, oh, that's wild. They're openly like selling it on the floor.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
And when I look back, I think to myself, man, like that was just the beginning of that whole movement. I wish I kind of like pushed more chips in a sense, because I didn't really. And now we have our own hemp drinks here. But like, I wish I pushed the chips in a little bit harder and like went full force, because people ended up making millions and millions of dollars on these drinks. And then gummies came, and then people were like, well, THCA. And then you see cookies putting out THCA flour you can buy online, and that's all this other stuff. And we can talk about cookies if you want to a little bit. But
sure, happy to talk about cookies.
Before we go there in a second, I wanted to point out the fact that there's no other ways to say it. Like, legacy operators will continue to exist, and putting hemp to 0.4 milligrams per serving of THC, and 0.4 milligrams for the audience, if you're not familiar, is nothing. Like, you can't do anything with that.
Wouldn't even notice it.
Depending if it's considered processing or not processing. In other words, if you're processing the plant and it still has to be less than 0.4 milligrams while you're processing it, means you literally can't even grow CBD at this point. Like, it's dead, right? So therefore, you'd have to come up with an alternative, which would be a chemically converted CBD, or lab created cannabinoids. Again, as long as you're not psychoactive, I think it actually would be okay. So CBD, potentially you could do lab creation. There's a way to do it from like orange peels, for instance. So there's other pathways to get CBD into the market, but if THC has to be less than 0.4 milligrams while it's being processed, then it's basically dead as a plant federally. There's no way you can get less than 0.4 milligrams in any CBD plant. It's always going to have some percentage of it. But what I was going to say was, since it basically, and it takes a year. It's a year. So November of 2026
And that's
will
assuming,
be when, if nothing else
and
changes.
that's assuming no lawsuits, no appeals or repeal.
Right.
Yeah,
And there is one
there
right now, which I'll
will
talk about.
absolutely be more as well.
So it basically the market's dead for all hemp ultimately, if that's the interpretation. But I'm assuming, hopefully they don't say processing is included. Hopefully it's just the end product has to be less than 0.4 milligrams,
Right.
which allows still some cannabinoids to come through, which a lot of people use for their medicine, whether it's medical or not. But it doesn't, just because you banned it doesn't mean that all these people are going to flood into your dispensary, right?
No, exactly.
Legacy operators have existed well before the adult use market, and they'll continue to exist. And so, if anything, I feel like it's just going to feed that market more. So if you're looking for an eighth, instead of buying it from Cookies, we'll say, or whatever, online and getting it delivered, whether you want to walk into the dispensary or not, that's, I'm not going to make any statements on like if how many percentages of people are going to walk into the dispensary that never walked into it before, but I feel like the legacy operators are going to grow, if anything.
I think so too. I mean, like, honestly, the question that I have for dispensaries that are all excited about this is now that you're the only show in town, allegedly, are you going to start carrying these hemp drinks and these hemp beverages and these hemp products? Because I mean, are these people going to go right from hemp into traditional cannabis? I don't know.
Right. And so that's where the rub is. So that's where I get really fired up, because politics is messy. It's so messy.
That's a nice way of putting it.
I mean, and I'm not well versed enough to know enough about this stuff myself. I read the headlines, maybe I'll skim an article or two, and I'll make an opinion in my head like a lot of people do.
That's everyone. That's the whole internet.
It's like, hey, I have an opinion about this. I read the title. And when I started thinking about these things, I think about how Trump signed this into law through the appropriations bill. Now it's 0.4 milligrams. They have a year for that to happen. And then there is one thing I'll mention about, there is one kind of push already through a couple of groups that I'm familiar with, and one I'm actually associated with. And then there is the idea that there is a report from the Washington Post, and apparently some other outlets also got this report, that Trump is now considering through executive order to reschedule it from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3.
Have you been watching the stocks around this either?
Oh, they're popping.
I'm just like so burned on the stock market. I'm not going to go in on any of this stuff because, like,
it's funny.
Trump might be, I'm adding cannabis to, and then not do anything.
Yeah, you cannot pin any hopes and dreams on what we don't know what's going to happen. And that's why I always tell my staff, like, take a step back. We don't know actually what's going to happen.
Yep.
We will deal with whatever consequence comes to this way. But like, cannabis is getting, every day in cannabis is like getting kicked in the nuts every day. There's no, like, you just have to deal with getting kicked in the nuts literally every day. I had that podcast with Natalie Benson and Andrew Cowdice.
Yep.
That one's coming out soon. That one hasn't aired yet. That one's going to come out soon.
All right. So I looked into the future on that one.
Yeah, you're a time traveler. It's cool.
I am.
So that's why you wear the green sequin jacket, because you're.
It's from the future. It's from the future. It's from the future. A game show from the future.
So but it's like getting kicked in the nuts every day. So for us, we're just dealing with our current consequences, our current situation, we'll say, and dealing with that as best as we can, and always trying to find the silver lining in everything that gets kind of like thrown at us. But there is this juxtaposition of Trump indicating, again, this might just be a headline that just goes away next week anyways, right? Which might actually happen. And at this point, I'm not holding my breath for it. But it's funny. It's like, we're going to go from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3 here, and we're also going to ban hemp. In my head, it means to me, it's like, are you trying to just push cannabis into a federal regulatory body like an FDA or whoever would actually like...
That's the school of thought I subscribe to. I think that they're trying to clean up their act and push it through one channel versus having these two separate channels that are competing and angry at one another at all times.
Yeah, and that actually leads us nicely into the repeal side. But like, I think, because that's a whole nother argument where it's like, it's all about control, right? And so I don't know who benefits from this, and it's going to be hard to tell like where this all ends up at the end of the day. But I do feel like there's just it's a moving target. You don't know which way it's going to happen or if anything's going to happen at all. So pay attention to the news. But for the most part, just like hang tight. There's nothing to do. except on the hemp side.
Mhm.
The one thing I do want to note about the hemp side is Senator Wyden, I believe it is, put together through a couple of groups. One of the groups I'm associated with is the Hemp Beverage Alliance because we make hemp drinks. They're pretty drinks here, so I can't even get them right. So these hemp drinks are absolutely delicious, and they are 5 milligrams, right?
Perfect.
So Senator Wyden put together, I think it is, anyways, and I'm sorry for misquoting again. I'm not a lawyer, but they put together a new kind of proposal that's going to that they need to get done before November 2026, which is 5 milligrams per serving, up to 5 milligrams per serving, and up to 50 milligrams per package.
Okay.
And with a special carve-out for beverages, up to 10 milligrams. So beverages don't really fall into that. So you wouldn't necessarily have a multi-serving beverage at 50 milligrams. Instead, you just have a cap of 10. That's at least my reading on it. And so when we're talking about the hemp side of things could change. If you do feel like you want to have a voice in this, reach out to HBA. I know there's HIFA, I think, is also being a big component of this on the hemp side. So there's a couple of groups that are pushing for this to happen. We'll see what ends up happening. We don't know which way it's going to go. At the end of the day, hold on to your socks. Like, there's nothing else you can do about it.
Well,
it's going to happen. And then you just have to kind of be along for the ride.
Just
and
subscribe.
Then deal with it.
Just subscribe to the RSS feed and read every day, and don't bid too heavily on one thing happening over another.
Yeah, exactly. We always try to hedge here. We always just be like, and that's why we're in hemp and we're in cannabis, because hemp, if it gets shut down, we have cannabis. If cannabis gets shut down, we have hemp. With that said, hemp and cannabis are now being potentially shut down for us.
And then you're left with a delicious drink line.
Exactly.
So
I will say that we have other plans that are outside of cannabis. Now, that was something that was already going to happen for us.
Have you announced this before? Because I'm not sure I heard.
No, we haven't announced anything formal yet, but there is
breaking news.
We do have, because at the end of the day, we are a CPG product innovation company. THC is one of our ingredients, but like my hobbies extend way, way past just THC, right? So it's like, whether it's in fitness and wellness or whatever, like there's so many more things that I want to do and innovate on and all this other stuff that like cannabis is useful as a tool for me for managing my stress and anxiety. Like there's other things.
Which is caused by your job in the industry.
Exactly. It's a cycle. Yeah,
exactly.
Like that. But so hemp being hopefully only temporarily shut down and then hopefully coming back alive. Cannabis actually has a real threat right now, which is the Repeal Act.
Oh yeah.
So let's talk about repeal real quick.
Let's do it.
And so if it was to shut down, if all of a sudden, if everything was to happen in November, again, another November deadline, and cannabis was to get repealed, people aren't going to stop buying weed.
No.
There's no. You're just going to push it to the legacy market again.
Cocaine's illegal. You still see all these boats getting blown up coming out of Venezuela.
Exactly.
I mean, come
Venezuelan coke boats. That's a hot take. I like that one. But they're going to find their weed, and it's just who gets paid and are there taxes involved?
Is it safe? And is it safe? Like, I mean, like I've heard a couple people say like dispensaries card their customers. I don't think I've ever been carded by an illicit dealer.
No, exactly.
Are you sure you're old enough to buy this? No, they don't give a shit.
There's like a super responsible plug who's just like on the street corners and with the scanner.
He gives you testing data to let you know that
Here's
safe
a COA with it. Yeah.
Exactly.
So, but it's not about eliminating cannabis because it's never been really about that. But I do actually I have one quote that is from, let's pull up my screen real quick. I wanted to put this quote out there. So let's see, we have...
Oh, I saw that one. That one's wonderful.
So let me know when it's up, Jacob. All right. So we've seen an increase in... No, thanks. We've seen an increase in motor vehicle accidents. We've seen an increase in mental health problems. We've seen an increase in addiction. All of these seem to stem from marijuana, right? This is the head of the opposition ballot, or repeal ballot initiative, which is the Coalition for Healthy Coalition for Massachusetts.
Sure.
Something along those lines. It probably says it in this article. I can't remember.
Bullshit Act of Massachusetts.
But they do have I was looking up like their website and stuff like that, and they do have, if I can find it, oh my goodness, that's Project Sam. Is this right here? Yeah, Massachusetts Coalition for Healthy Equity. Oh, wait a second. This is not it. That's not the one. I just clicked on the one that looked good. But yeah, Wendy Wakeman. I'm just trying to find the name. So basically the repeal thing is, we don't know if it's even going to be on the ballot because as of right now, they haven't confirmed the signatures. They've supposedly collected all of them and they've submitted them to the Secretary of State, but they've not actually confirmed because it's a hand confirmation. They literally have to go through each
And validate.
that these are real people and their signatures.
I heard they got the signatures, probably from the same sources you did. I heard they actually got more than they expected. They were shooting for 75,000, and I heard they got 76,000. But with
I think that's a buffer. That has to be.
It has to be.
Because if you lose 1,000 signatures, you still want to be able to.
You're still running them. Yeah, but they also allegedly have spent over $1 million gathering those signatures, and a lot of people, as I talked to, have said that this is a major failure for them to be that close to the line.
Well, and this is David O'Brien, Mass CBA. So Mass CBA, they're shuffling clipboards while they do it, and so there have been reports, and Chris Ferrone has been leading the charge on all these things. He actually went on site to a grocery store and actually talked to one of these people who were collecting ballot signatures, and what he found was, they were literally saying, do you want kids to go to prison for weed? And that was like, okay, no, I don't, then sign this. Right. And that's apparently the message. And again, I have not confirmed this personally, so I don't know if this.
That sounds like false pretenses to me, though.
Exactly.
It's kind of the opposite that they're actually having you sign off on.
But through weird enough logic, you can kind of make that kind of thing being like, well, if we repeal adult use, then kids maybe have less access to it or something like that. Because remember, the original quote was, I'm going to pull this over here real quick. The original quote was, we've seen an increase in motor vehicle accidents, we've seen an increase in mental health problems, and we've seen an increase in addiction. All of these seem to stem from marijuana. Now, seem is such a vague word.
That's a very vague
word.
I
think it is. And it's like, where's the data on any of this stuff? Like, what do you mean seem to stem from marijuana? If you repeal it, it doesn't go away. Right. But anyway, so Wendy Wakeman, we're going to keep an eye on those things.
That quote is like saying that we've seen a decrease in paper cuts because of the advent of the personal computer. Sure, I mean, okay, but really?
So, I don't see this moving. I mean, if they get enough signatures confirmed, then obviously we're going to see it on the ballot in 2026, in November 2026. But the way we read it is, and again, I'm not speaking for my company. I'm not speaking for any of the organizations. We happen to be members of the MCC, Massachusetts Cannabis Coalition. We're also very friendly with Mass Eon and Mass CBA, which is Kevin Gilnick's group of Mass Eon, and Mass CBA, which is David O'Brien, he was quoted in this particular article, and I think also, the chair for the Coalition of for a Healthy Massachusetts. So that's the title, that's the name. Wendy Wakeman is the person that we have to be paying attention to. But after doing a little bit of research, I came across Kevin Sabat.
I can't. Yeah, it's something. I mean,
Tung Sabor.
Sabor, sorbet, or something like that.
Who runs SAM, Smart Approaches to Marijuana. So he is backing this campaign, whether he's actively participating or not. I can't say for sure. I don't remember my research actually said this, but it's funny because this is preventing the next big tobacco. They always point to big business. Mm-hmm. They're always pointing to be like, hey, it's these big companies. They don't realize there's 350,000 cannabis workers or something crazy like that across the country.
Wild number, yeah.
And the majority of them are small businesses. They're not big businesses.
Yeah, very few of them are actually big businesses. Exactly. And even the big ones are struggling as well. So,
and it's funny because I actually saw, Kevin, I'll maybe we'll put this in the show notes, but Kevin, who runs this organization, who's supposedly somehow backing through some way, somehow supporting this Wendy Wakeman group. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They are, he just put a post out on Twitter. Is my screen still on? Yep. I don't know if I'm logged in. I'm not even logged in. But he basically put out a message that criticized Trump and said, hey, Trump, you shouldn't do the rescheduling. It's going to cause, again, more motor vehicle accidents and more children's access and all the things that kind of Wendy Wakeman. So it's the same kind of story over and over again that they're pitching. And they're doing it under the guise of preventing the big next tobacco. But these groups are organized and they are to be taken seriously. And that's actually one of the things, the key takeaway here. They are organized. They've spent upwards of $1 million. Every signature was between $8 and $9, and a lot of people are looking for work. So like, it's very easy to convince some college kid who can't find a job to go out in front of a Wegmans, collect a bunch of signatures for $8, $9 at a time, make a couple $100 in like for a couple hours worth of work just sitting in front of a grocery store. So I get it, and it's a well-organized campaign. It has to be taken seriously. I want to share more details, but since I'm part of the MCC trade group, we're waiting for further instructions on how to approach this, because we all have to have a concise, clean messaging, straightforward messaging. So
there's a lot of laws around that, I'm told. As well.
Yeah, well, there's a whole campaign. And the campaign, technically, we're not going to launch the campaign until we actually get confirmation that it's going to be on the ballot.
Because then,
we don't know if it's on the ballot.
Possibly promoting it.
So if they got 76,000 signatures and they find that maybe 2,000 of them got kind of, they didn't make the count then. You know what I mean? Therefore, it won't even be on the ballot. So we're still waiting for the Secretary of State. I believe that's the body here that we're waiting for, that to actually put together or to give us a confirmation that it's going to be or not going to be there. And there's another initiative in Maine. It's not.
That's what I have pulled up as well.
What we found out was Maine was more of a grassroots thing versus this one, which is very much a highly organized situation from external sources. And so we're going to be obviously taking it very seriously, but at the same time, we're waiting for the signatures to actually get confirmed before we actually put a lot of weight behind it. And we've been basically told that it's probably going to happen. So we're like, whether you complain to the Secretary of State or not, being like, hey, these things are gotten all like, nefarious ways of collecting signatures. I don't know if there's a precedent here that says like, and again, I'm not a journalist and I'm not a lawyer. So I just operate a business in a world that, or an industry that may get taken away from me. So there's that. At least you can make websites for other people. I may be out of job soon. By next year, I won't have hemp and I won't have cannabis.
Join the cannabis industry, folks. It's a ball.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun here. But anyways, the thing is, I actually just don't like, if it goes forward, we'll have more actionable things to talk about. And in future episodes, we can talk kind of more deeply on those things. But repeal doesn't solve anything. It really doesn't. So if you're on the repeal side right now, you're talking about just pushing it to the legacy market, and all this stuff will continue to happen, whether you think it's actually happening or not, or it seems to be happening for marijuana. The dispensary the dispensary operators and delivery operators are not the problem here. It's not what you're actually attacking. You're attacking people who own small businesses who are providing $250 million in tax revenue to the state.
And doing it through reputable channels out in the open. Exactly. Like the way that we did tobacco saw a decline was through consumer education, taxation, regulation.
Right.
And that's what no one in cannabis is saying. We don't want those things. Right. We want to be held accountable.
So, and that's one of the things. And so I think they think we're an easy target here because we fight so much with our regulators. But in reality, and this is one thing that I don't think they realize, we're in the industry, so we can be super critical about the industry. We have a vested interest in seeing this succeed. So we're the most critical of our regulators, and we're holding them accountable. We're pushing these things to get through. And there are some really, really loud voices out there that are actually pushing for meaningful change. The delivery driver rule stuff, like going from 2 to 1 to make it a somewhat more reasonable place to operate in and to succeed in and to actually be profitable, which there are some profitable delivery operators right now. We can be critical, but don't think that we're an easy target. And that's what you're getting confused, because there's nobody, I'm telling you right now, we are such a close-knit community that we will be ferociously attacking the repeal side of this to make sure that everybody understands that we're not the bad guys. And so look up for more instructions on how to continue that conversation. But again, we have to wait for the signatures to kind of come through. So on to more fun things. I actually have one more fun thing that I want to share.
Let's do it.
If you were to guess, what is bigger, 420 or Green Wednesday?
Now, what do you mean bigger in terms of like
revenue?
Revenue,
So I got some numbers that I will share.
This year, Green Wednesday really was damn close to 420. 420 was on Easter this year, so that definitely didn't help it. So this year, Green Wednesday was bigger. This year, Green Wednesday was bigger, and it spanned because it was Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Because I carried that entire thing, that whole hangover.
Yeah. So you are correct. Green Wednesday was actually bigger than than 420. And so I do have some numbers. You don't have to share this screen, Jacob, but because I'm just going to read it off real quick. But so this year, 2025, Green Wednesday generated almost $5.2 million. Again, this is, and thank you, big shout out to Rick and the team, Rick, Austin, Cody, the team over at Little Alerts. This is where I'm getting this data from. And I could show you the dashboard, maybe a different show, but for now, I'm just going to kind of riff off some numbers. Green Wednesday did $5.2 million that single day, whereas 420 only did 3.4. Now, again, like Dan said, it was Easter Sunday, right? The average sale in Massachusetts, as of the last, say, like, from year to date, is about $3 million a day. So technically, 420 just did a little bit better than an average day because, again, it was on Easter Sunday.
But if you compare it to an average Sunday, it was a home run.
Yeah, exactly. So it was a great Sunday because Sundays are always the slowest day.
Sunday's a terrible day is Sunday. Friday and Saturday are always the huge.
Friday, Saturday, huge days.
Huge days.
Absolutely. Friday, Saturday, crush. But these are the holidays, right? So is 420 bigger than Green Wednesday or Green Wednesday bigger than 420? 2025 skews that data.
Right.
But if you look at 2024, you'll see that Green Wednesday did 5 million, just over 5 million. So it's a little smaller, but different days grow.
But even Black Friday beat 420 this year.
Right, exactly. So, and I'm going to get to the Black Friday, Cyber Monday stuff, BFCM, or CPG.
Didn't mean to steal your thunder there.
But when 420 was on a Saturday, it did in 2024, it did 6.6 million.
Wow.
So it did twice as much in 2024 as it did in 2025. So Green Wednesday can be that killer. 420 can be that killer day for us still. It's just that Easter Sunday, what are you going to do? Like it was just a, coincidence, what do you want to call it?
I wonder if there's a way to like look at in a future show, like the price difference between an eighth of cannabis in 2024. Because I think there's also price compression driving this as well. Maybe we have to look at the total number of transactions to get a real understanding of what actually happened.
I should have recorded the transaction data because you're absolutely right. So 2024 to 2025 there's continued to be downward pressure on the pricing, which means that, and this is what I heard early, 2023, 2024, I was hearing a lot more of this, but about the price compression side where, we're doing the same amount of revenue, but we're selling a lot more weed. Because it's like, you're selling, twice as much units, but the revenue hasn't really grown that much. But I do want to point out Black Friday, Cyber Monday. So since we also run a CPG company, we also, in the hemp space, for instance, we have a Shopify store where you can buy these. We are very familiar with Black Friday, Cyber Monday. So we had a BOGO deal. So you could buy a case, get a case, or buy a beverage enhancer, get a beverage enhancer for free.
That's wonderful.
On our website. And what ended up happening was, obviously, we did great numbers because it's Black Friday, Cyber Monday. That is something people planted months and months in advance.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And this is really, you get into real CPG, where it's just like, and again, I think some people in cannabis definitely hate the word CPG because it almost like, but humans love to categorize things.
Of course.
Right? So it's like hard not to call it CPG, but I understand if you're growing this super bomb-ass fire plant in your basement and you're consuming it for yourself or whatever, that's not CPG, obviously. I'm talking about a branded product that's packaged beautifully, that is being delivered to an end consumer. And whether you think that's not part of the culture or not, I'm not here to debate that, but I do know that smart retail operators are diving into this data and they're trying to figure out ways to increase the revenue year over year for their Black Friday, Cyber Monday. So if you look at 2025 numbers, Black Friday did 4.3 million, which again, like you said, it was bigger than 420 this year even. And then Cyber Monday was kind of like a typical Monday, which was interesting because Cyber Monday, maybe because they already had Green Wednesday and Black Friday, they were kind of, they're like, $3 million Cyber Monday. Now, in total, without Cyber Monday, that's $9.5 million over those 2 days. So Green Wednesday and Black Friday together did over $9.5 million in just those 2 days as a total market as far as Little Alerts data is able to capture. Last year, it was about the same, 9.3. So slightly lower again, because obviously we're hoping we're still growing as a market, even though I know there's talks of how flat we are. 9.3 or almost 9.4 versus 9.5. So it's close for Black Friday and Cyber Monday. It's just the Green Wednesday, it's the 420 numbers were just way, way off this year. And so I feel like 420 of 2026, what date is that?
It's gonna be a Monday.
Are you like one of those
No, I'm actually
calendar people?
I think it just goes a day every year. So I think it's gonna be a few years before we see
Monday. You're right.
I think so. Hot take from me here. I don't think we're going to see historic 420 numbers until the next one occurs on a Friday.
Friday or
Because
Saturday.
it will boost that. And the other thing I would say is like, I watch this pretty closely to see how retailers are reacting and responding and marketing to these different retail holidays. A lot of dispensaries don't change their homepage. A lot of brands don't change their homepage. They're not doing things to boost the idea of like, I will get a deal on this day. They're not sending out marketing materials, email blast, text, like they're not trying hard enough. They're just like expecting people to show up because it's 420.
Right. So, and that's the trick. So I think that, again, as operators continue to evolve their marketing, they're going to start tuning in and tuning up those things.
Yep.
And I feel like that's kind of like the key message. What I'm trying to say here is that like you have to take Black Friday, Cyber Monday also super serious. Now there are some people who are setting up the email blast or they're using a texting service that you can get people to come up and show up for specific deals. Of course, they're doing some of those things. And we track actually a lot of emails. So like we see kind of like the flow of a lot of these emails come through. But when it comes to 420, like you were saying, that stuff is like a month preparation.
Oh, yeah.
Minimum. Like, what's our strategy here? Are we going to, because what I've been seeing more and more in CPG is that you're starting to get emails earlier and earlier. And now it's Cyber Week, right? Black Friday month or whatever.
Well, let me talk to you about that. So I come from as you know, I come from the automotive industry originally. And I'm old enough to remember when Truck Month was 1 month out of the year. And we're like, it was just Ford. It was Ford Truck Month. We sold a fucking ton of F-150s on Truck Month. So the next year we're just like, you know what? Let's have Truck Month span from Ford to Ram to Chevy. Let's have all of our trucks on sale. And guess what? Revenues climb. So then we started thinking to ourselves, why does Truck Month have to be a month? Why can't every month be Truck Month? And we advertised trucks from that moment on at Cork Auto Dealers like every month was Truck Month.
Right.
And our sales went through the roof.
Right.
So if you make a celebration of a normal day, you will see results that don't reflect the normal day's sales.
Exactly. So Green Wednesday might actually be
Green Week.
Green Week.
Green Week. Green Month. Green Year. Let's go for it.
So,
why stop there?
Exactly. Green Year.
Green Decade.
Very cool. So I feel like Green Wednesday will make Green Wednesday obviously being a very big day. I don't think that's going away because those are fixed dates. It's always on a Wednesday, and then Black Friday is always on a Friday.
Yep.
Those are there. It's the problem is with 420. That's
Easter.
just the variance of that day it's going to be on. So what are you predicting for Monday, 420?
I think we're going to see better than we saw this year because it was Easter Sunday. But
they go across 4 million, 4.5.
Oh, that really, I mean, it's too early to tell. I mean, that depends on the price. If rescheduling happens, absolutely. If it doesn't happen, anyone's guess.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. Like, how does rescheduling actually interact with the dates? Rescheduling, just to, because I can bring that up again really quickly. Theoretically, and again, there's a bunch of articles on all this stuff too, but I don't know. There's two sides of this that people are always, and actually there's three sides. There's one that's just like, yay, we're going to get relief from 280E, which I'm a huge fan of because the taxes are just like crazy. And there's other people who are like, well, rescheduling isn't descheduling and rescheduling is putting it in the hands of pharma and then, or a federal government, whatever. Sure. And then there's people in the middle like me who are just like, I don't know what to think because honestly, like I'm just going to roll with whatever it is. And if my accountant says that you don't have to pay 280 anymore, I'll be super excited. Right. And if there's somehow more accessibility, because I always focus on access, which is why I like hemp.
Yeah.
It was access for me. It was like, I make an awesome drink.
Yep.
Not I. The team makes a phenomenal drink.
Big shout out to
everybody loves, but we can't get it into like there's only 400 stores in Massachusetts, and there's only probably 300-ish that you want to be in. I know I'm not,
and only 200 of them actually pay.
Yeah, exactly. So, and we don't want to get into collections. That's that's
a hot topic. We gotta hold that off.
Yeah. So before I hit my outro, any other last things? Actually, anything else you want to bring up?
Yeah, I do think that my theory, my thought about rescheduling and the taxes and how that will affect how you can write off certain marketing expenses. I think if people listen to this show and the content that we're talking about, which is like advertise, market, get ahead of things, the fact that they'll be able to write it all off next year potentially is huge. But the other reason why I can't answer your question about will Monday 420 be better, dude, like what if this mass repeal shit actually does happen? It'll be right around the same time that Green Wednesday happens.
Well, Green Wednesday, I don't know what date. Is it right before? The ballot's before, yeah, because Green Wednesday will be November 20-something maybe.
I think it's like the 23rd or
and
the
then
27th.
Ballot is like November 3rd, so it's before. So we might have a really poor showing on Green Wednesday. Everybody go out and vote. No, we do not want to repeal. No. I'm assuming the no is going to be very clear for a lot of people, especially in the industry.
I'm with you. I don't know what to think. Like, I feel like no matter what happens, it's going to hurt us somehow. But that's just because I'm a cynic at this point.
Yeah, well, I think you have to have the dogged determination and the resilience to just continue on, which it's a thing.
Is it Stockholm syndrome at this point? Like we don't know a kinder captor.
Exactly, our captors, we just fall in love with them. So I think that's probably about it. I have some let's flip over my screen real quick. I just want to show maybe some LinkedIn posts. So, there we go.
Whoa.
So I just want to call it a few posts that I thought were kind of interesting. And CPGs for TikTok, stop trying to sell your stuff on LinkedIn. I saw this, and it's such a clickbait title because when you expand it, it's actually like, oh, I actually buy a ton of stuff on LinkedIn. Like Mark's chips here, but that has a picture of Mark on it.
It's an interesting point, though, It is an interesting... Yeah. I don't think I ever really see people selling their product direct to consumer on LinkedIn.
Right.
I haven't noticed that.
One of the reasons why I stepped away from such an aggressive LinkedIn... Because I was posting every day on LinkedIn for almost 18 months. I stepped away from doing it every day. And now I do post every day, show stuff, but I don't post anything about our products necessarily.
Right.
Because really we're transitioning more towards like a media presence on LinkedIn versus like I'm selling this product. But the reason why it resonated with me is because a lot of the consumers aren't looking for weed on LinkedIn. They're just not.
They're not.
So you're showing your beautiful flower and stuff like that. Like totally awesome. It's cool. Like, but consumers are different than customers. Who's your customer? So if you're a brand and you happen to have in your LinkedIn feed or LinkedIn connections a bunch of buyers, then yeah, that might make sense for you, right?
Right.
So there is something to be said about that.
Well, I think his point about CPG is accurate. I mean, I've as an ancillary service company, we crush on LinkedIn.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, without LinkedIn, we'd be screwed.
Dude, I will show you. So since you brought it up, and I wish I could type better, my finger's still injured. But like if you go to my network, and if you see, like I've got 304 invitations, like I don't know who to accept anymore because and I'm sure there's really great people to be on. And I apologize for anybody who I've been left on red when it comes to these invites, but I can't tell sometimes because like I'm going to take a random person. This person has 178 other mutual connections. So 179 connections with this person, right? 6 days ago, Emily Wolfley. I'm calling out the specific person.
I'm sure she's lovely.
I'm sure she's a great person.
She's a lovely person.
But when I see HR, payroll, retirement, I'm like, when I hit that accept button, I can almost guarantee there's going to be a message in my inbox that says, hey, do you need help with your HR, payroll, or retirement? And maybe AI, and maybe some kind of script system or whatever. I don't know. But like, I'm sure if I knew Emily, I would have accepted it by now, kind of thing. But since it's it's a cold inbox, I don't know, right? And so again, there's a ton of awesome people in here, probably, and some people like 151 connections and 77 connections, 114 connections. So these people are well connected. 367 connections.
Sarah Zellman, you should actually accept that one. The Terabis team is absolutely wonderful.
Terabis?
Yeah, they're wonderful people.
All right, Sarah, you get a pass. I don't even come in here anymore because I get 303. Like I can't.
When was the
manage
last time
this.
other than today? When was the last time you accepted someone? Do you? I think you're just a high demand individual.
Probably within the last week or so, because almost like I knew they were going to do it. And it's like I'm in other groups. And so sometimes when you get into different groups, they're like, hey, I'm going to request you on LinkedIn or whatever, connect with you on LinkedIn. So I see their name come through. I'll be like, all right, hit accept. But I actually don't log into LinkedIn that much anymore.
Interesting.
Because I just get sold to nonstop. Like if you were to go through my messages, which I'm for privacy purposes, I probably won't click on that one because I don't want to expose anybody.
That's
but it's very much like like I mentioned to a few people like, hey, we have this live show that's happening, and after sending that message, they hit me back with a sales pitch right afterwards. And I was like, okay, I'm kind of selling something because I'm doing this live show, but I'm also like, wasn't expecting you to be like, hey, we make the best pre-roll machine or something. I'm like,
right. Well, how's that? Yeah. What is that?
Is that how do I make drinks with my pre-roll machine?
Roll this up into a pre-roll?
like you didn't do any research on me, so I don't know.
My hack on that is the title. And like, if it says anything about AI in the beginning, I just ignore. If it says anything about like,
I'm not subscribing to like, I think AI is one of those situations where I was signing up for so many services, and then eventually I just stopped because there's too many.
Just cancel them all.
Everybody has a new AI service tomorrow, and it should be like, it promises the world to you, and it like always falls short. We didn't get into the AI side. We should have, but
AI is the number one place where companies are starting and failing within like, I think it's like within a year, like something like 70% of those companies have already failed.
I would 100% see that. So just a couple more other ones, just because I thought was funny. So like, there's so much stuff.
That's hilarious.
I don't know. I don't have any comment necessarily outside of it, but it's like when I see this stuff, it kind of goes on for a little bit. I skim a little bit, but I don't read it because it's just so much. But there's some people who did like it though, right? So it's just like, I don't know.
That one flew on a little bit on incognito, but a great post nonetheless.
Yeah. So, but there's like common things like this person who doesn't like pierogies. This is fantastic. I love pierogies.
That's wonderful.
New regional sales manager.
130 other people like that post as well.
This is what you'd see. This is what I expect to see on LinkedIn.
Right.
Like I got a promotion. And everybody's like, congratulations, you your promotion, right? This is like traditional LinkedIn to me. And it's like, I'm so excited to share that I'm starting my next chapter, right? Nelson, friend of the pod, friend of Good Feels and Good Vibes. So, but it's like funny because it's like, this is an interesting, thought-provoking thing, but it only had one reaction. Maybe if I refresh, it has at least one more. All right, we got 11.
That's 12. Not bad. There you go. That's some good
comment.
Engagement right there.
Yeah, and this person's real questions for retail. How do we stop pretending low stock isn't a problem? I think that's a great question because that's something that we struggle with all the time. We're trying to convince our partners and our buyers to be like, hey, if we go out of stock, then they're going to go to the other store
100%.
Because they're looking for our product. You know what I mean?
100%.
So I think, we got a message. Let's not open that one up just yet.
It's probably from that person you just accepted.
Exactly. Now this one is super spicy. This is Travis Cullen. I don't know anything about this person, but I just saw this one and they're calling out. So the call outs are crazy. Last Prisoner Project call out. He's like, it is like, he's calling out Last Prisoner Project here. I think it's a super spicy post. This guy, Edwin, has been in jail for a cannabis crime and is still in jail. And he's basically saying the Last Prisoner Project is not supporting them in any way. But he's like one of the guys that they should be supporting kind of thing.
Interesting.
That's super spicy. Not going to go to that one just yet. And then I ordered a chicken wrap from Uber Eats and was delivered cocaine instead.
How'd you pull that off?
I don't know. This is the stuff I see.
Is she complaining about that? I'm not really sure what the actual
It's funny, but that is, again, 370, 166 comments.
You got Joe Corey right there.
Oh, Joe.
When you put Joe on anything, they're just going to blow up.
I got to refresh to see if it's still there. 701, 213 comments. So it's funny stuff like this has nothing to do with business or anything, unless they turned it around. This is Miami after all.
Yeah, but you ordered Uber Eats and you got cocaine. Usually when you order cocaine, you get cocaine.
So, but what's the value in posts like this? It's great for engagement, of course.
Clearly.
Like,
you got a comment.
Let's see what the comment is. Yeah, exactly. So Shaz, good shout out. You accept the invite and immediately brace yourself like, here comes the sales pitch, right? Oops,
That's right. That's exactly it.
So like, I'm expecting somebody to immediately say, hey, here's my service. Let's jump on a call.
Right.
If I hear let's jump on a call, I'm like, I sometimes start blocking people now. And I'm like, I unfriend people.
I do the same thing.
Because I'm like, I don't know you. You want to jump on a call with me? And this is one of the things I tell my team constantly, protect your time.
Right.
Time is super valuable. We're moving so fast. We're doing so many things. Protect your time. Just because somebody says jump on a call doesn't mean you're obligated to jump on a call.
Right. I got to say, the other thing is like, and maybe this makes me sound like an asshole. There's certain people from certain countries that reach out to me. Like they're actually saying like, I'm in the Ukraine. I'm like, dude, like.
Yeah, you could be an awesome developer.
You'd be an awesome developer. I don't do offshore though.
Yeah, if it's not, but again, I don't think people read like bios on LinkedIn anymore.
I have to.
But I think a lot of people just bought it and they just like
click. Oh yeah, the
accept and
yeah,
copy and paste.
Exactly.
So yeah, LinkedIn's a spicy place. Actually, at one point, we're way over time now. I do actually want at some point to go more into some LinkedIn spicy posts because some of the ones about collections. I saw one post.
Jeff's post was fucking
so
on
there's
point.
Jeff's post, but there's also there's other people who are, in some cases, it's a lot of the people who are the suppliers.
Mm-hmm.
They'll call out people being like, hey, XY dispensary or manufacturer hasn't paid us.
Right.
Who has a contact over there? And they're calling out names now. So I think it's super interesting and super spicy. In this particular case, this is one of the co-founders of Cornbread Hemp, which is going to be very much affected by this hemp ban.
Definitely.
They got Senator Rand Paul actually to come out and cut the grand opening for the store. So Cornbread Hemp Day in Louisville. So that's super cool. Like there's some good things happening. Again, Cornbread being one of the upstanding, as far as I can tell from the outside anyways, I don't know anybody there, being one of the upstanding companies in the hemp space. But unfortunately, this could all just go away.
I haven't been at Gillette recently. Is Charlotte's Web still the water tower sponsor?
I don't
know what I mean?
I haven't. Yeah, exactly. Charlotte's Web, CBD company.
Because that's definitely going to be impacted by this potentially as well.
Yeah. So I had a Brett post. I didn't really look through it that well, but
he didn't go to MJBizCon. He was very vocal, like saying, "I'm taking some time." And
good for him.
Yeah, good for him.
Brett's a great guy. I think there is one of those things that he has these hot takes all the time. So this was something today. So I was just curious, like
you got to refresh. Yeah, I bet you there's like 100 people already.
Oh, only 25. 4 comments.
I'm sure it will pick up as the LinkedIn juices get flowing.
Yeah. So false certainty he's talking about, and false certainty I think is one of those things. I agree with this post, even though I skimmed it, because it's so dangerous to be in a position where you're like, I'm so certain it's going to happen this way, and it does not happen that way. There's no guarantees in life in general, but especially in cannabis. We don't know if repeal is going to happen or not. We don't know if hemp's going to go away or not. We don't know if there's different regulations that are coming through that's going to actually push our Massachusetts regulations in a negative way or a positive way. And you just have to be prepared.
It's Murphy's Law in this industry.
Yeah. So, so that's some LinkedIn, some spicy stuff on LinkedIn. You can switch me off, Jacob. So where do you want to go from here? I can go to the outro. If you aren't able to, if you haven't seen the show, if you're, you can catch us obviously after the fact too. It'll be on LinkedIn still and in YouTube. But for the most part, the amount of are we still live? Yeah, I am. All right. The amount of comments and attendees, I think, super thankful for you guys out there. And so we got some more spicy hot takes coming soon. So what's that?
It's the season's greetings bag. I just wanted to thank you and congratulate both of us on a lovely inaugural podcast.
Thank you so much, Dan. Super cool. Do we have any shout outs here? Or
Yeah, Southern Maine Kitchen is one of the edibles companies I typically use when I go up to Maine. And
gummy squares.
Yeah, just,
got some gummies.
Not a client or anything, just really big fan.
A scratchy?
I was going to buy you a Powerball ticket, but I feel like that's like a bad omen.
You know Powerball? I mean? Powerball is like,
dude,
it's like $1 billion again?
$1.2 billion right now, man. It's the 6th biggest Powerball jackpot in human history, I guess. And I just
roller
threw
papers
some stickers.
Dude, you're so nice. Thank you so much.
You gave me nice stuff last time I came here, and the least I could do is give you a scratchy.
Love it, dude. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
So it's funny. I actually have a scratch ticket that I won, or like I think my daughter scratched it off, and we're about to throw it out, and it had like a $2 winning on it. I was like, oh, we'll keep it. It's a keeper, obviously, because it has $2 on it. This one I'll scratch off air. But the funny thing is, that was probably from like Easter. Mm-hmm. It's still sitting in my car.
Is it valid? How long is the shelf life on these
It's
things?
$2, and I'm like, I'm not walking into a store for a $2 scratchy.
No, absolutely not.
But like, I also have a Tesla, so I don't go to gas stations a lot either.
When the hell are you gonna get this ticket?
I don't know when I'm gonna get this. It's a $2 ticket, so I appreciate the scratchy.
Yeah, I'll give you $2. Give me the scratchy.
Exactly. You'll be my redemption. Hopefully, it's still good. I think that's the show. So basically, the only things I wanna mention on the outro are gonna be that it's just like the industry isn't getting weaker, right? We're in operating mode now, right? The green rush is over. We're here operating, whether it's a Ford dealership or whatever it might be in the future. We're actually seasoned operators, a lot of us are becoming very seasoned in the industry and how to adapt to certain specific scenarios that are getting thrown at you, because it's like getting your nuts kicked in every single day. So therefore, we have to be resilient. We have to have dogged determinism to be able to continue to grow and evolve in this industry together. And so Grow Mode is really about that. It's really more about like sharing some wisdom, also some laughs, and hopefully some positivity, and silver linings in all this news that continues to come out. So I appreciate you for joining us today, and hope to see you on the next Grow Mode. Thank you. Cheers.
Dude, that was cool.
Good.